Here gripped the Adwafo community in the Adansi-Akrofom district of the Ashanti region when another helicopter had to make what it described in aviation terms as precautionary landing. District Chief Executive for the area tells Adom News Isaac Nomanyo he and his team rushed to the scene upon a tip-off.
No office, and I'm a say, yes, headquarters by source landing our district. Na me chu ka me bae na mpa ma be hu omo me no ma di nkomo no omo kire se omo ko kira no mines na omo du ha no se ne ebo no aye no nti no na wo se omo ye by force landing wo ha ana ama omo abelande wo ha nti na di ama wo ma lande wo ha no eno no dabi aha omo se nye fort bia omo na lande na de ma me nso me bae tutu ne se na no gi si ani si o me mpaswe so ekru a ben ha ye so ho nti anu si ya na yenya information a abetodwa nhwehwemu ni nyamba me hu de nam so ma sa helicopter no e crash ya ijato mu na sane social media bidia betoto ho no o mo kire se amanfo na kote ewura mu ho no o mo te sa flight no nti se we nso abesi wo ha de a na wo se me behwe aida se omo be pick will be free ha ebi ana obi na be te ewura mu hotel sa flight no ana omo nkrofo na be pick omo e de akọ sadie yo na wasa me ba behwe nti me ka kire ahafo no se omo hwe make sure say flight na be sili nipa a omo team no omo a na be tena mu amama be duru ha ampa me ba ye nso no ma ba be to omo nipa foforo bia no emfiri ba bi emba mbe efro ye omo na nipa enan ana mabeto omo wa hasisi ya
twe ni betwa me na me ofie na me no adi ke twa mu na ekọ ye na esan tan ye na eba no ma hu hwi bi twe ni wo fo me se hwe na wan san beto me dan zo na me ye da mu se oba ya ntimi chenzi pe no ene me di machi na me kọ ya mba ye na ma hu se won du fom kwa no wasensen bi na before obelande na obelande ye no se bi se ye ni committee for ba ha ene ye me ba ben ho ba opam ye se ye dey
who de be better yes papa because I don't pay me say me commander the film who say play neighbor a corner satan na ba me say no dey play the out then who say ada then eba already who your mobile I say you must play na asatan neighbor feel who say I say eba from I say me say ma me the friend you da me say already no dey better to krom ha dey to for me ja to mun and I be mu say already who your mobile it be dem the mani hwem ha na ka me dwane atomura na ka me dwane agya me maame I feel we almost playing in the best park so, and then we said Dimrica and the cost of your buy and I just say, I bet you who dear. Say them you must see a shimmy because that's the way you who be the BS and say I week cry my. Yes, I bet say rather another.
So from the Adwafo community, we first heard from the MCE who explained that he had information that there's been an emergency landing in part of the community, in some parts of in that community, when he rushed over to the place to check what the situation was, and he had information that the helicopter had to, land. We do not know exactly what the situation was, whether it was up to weather or not. We also heard from the residents expressing fear that they thought the helicopter would land on their homes. But let's speak to the Ghana Meteorological Agency on the weather situation. And joining us is Felicity Ahiafanyo, and she's the head of Central Analysis and Forecast at the office of the Ghana Meteorological Agency. We're grateful for your time on our desk. First of all, helicopters are having difficulty navigating the airspace as a result of the weather, at least. We've known of the emergency landing at Ejumako in the central region, also in Nkoko, and this morning what we are hearing from Adwafo. Is there a difficulty in communicating the weather situation to pilots?
Thank you so much and good morning to everyone, and we'll express our condolences to the bereaved family, to the president and the entire nation. It's unfortunate situation that has happened. Yes, to the question, Ghana Meteorological Agency will work with the aviation industry we provide them with the information that they need for both domestic and then international. We have weather elements like the meter, the terminal aerodrome report, the aerodrome warnings, and so forth. Now, when it comes to the flight, domestic flights, that's the helicopters and then craft, we provide them with area forecasts where we give them weather conditions on the various levels, and then we give them the general outlook. Then the pilot is left to make a decision. So before they take off, they know how the conditions will be. And then before they land, they know how the conditions will also be. So we have been in constant relationship with the aviation industry, and then also with the Air Force, Ghana Air Force Base too. We have been in contact. We provide them with forecasts every now and then. In terms of the meteorological information, the meter, every 30 minutes we provide it for them. So, but then if it comes to the other aircraft operating within Ghana, where we don't know anything about, then that one, there is nothing that we can do. We don't know where maybe they may be getting their informations from.
Well, the issue has also been with the weather recently. It's been quite hazy, especially in mountainous areas like the Ashanti region. Is that going to continue for the long haul, or what must they look out for?
Yes, for the forecast for the August, yes, we're expecting it to remain the cloudy, dull, cool over the entire country, misty and foggy, with low clouds over most portions over the country, and especially those around the eastern region, Ashanti region, Bono East, and the Adwafo stretches. Then around the western, northwestern region and part of central region too, will have the misty and then foggy conditions. And in some cases, we expect it between moderate to severe, which means that visibilities are likely to be less than 1 kilometer. And then some areas to visibilities are anticipated to be less than 200 meters.
So would you advise that there should be, flights in these areas around this time, or it should be halted?
From my experience, as I worked as the meteorologist or aviation forecaster for the past 18 years, we are not obliged to give advice to the pilot to make a decision. But what I can say that the conditions have time. So in the mornings between the early hours to around 10, 11 may not be conducive for flight operations, especially for the domestic flight or the low-flying aircraft. And then also in the evening, in the night, from around 5 moving onwards to may not also be advisable. And also, it's not going to be every day that we'll have these weather conditions with us. There are some days that the day will be good. So that is when they come to us, they take the forecast, they can plan and know that, okay, for this week, and they can do flying maybe on Wednesday or Thursday, and then they make the decision in that regard. But if they don't come and we give them the details forecast, but then they rely on the general public forecast that we are giving, they may find themselves wanted. So they need to get closer, and then we get those informations for them, and they make their own decision.
Aside aircrafts and what's not, also here in Greater Accra region and maybe the rest of the country, what should we expect in the weather forecast?
Yes, let me quickly add this to the motorists, to the drivers that used our roads at dawn to the early hours. They also need to be extra careful because foggy conditions is just like clouds on the ground. So visibilities will be very blurred, very poor. So it's not only the aircraft the bad weather will affect, but then those that will be flying the roads from Accra to Nkoko, Accra to Kumasi, Goso, Sunyani, Techiman areas, Ebri, Amejope, and then and its environs, they also need to be careful with their speeds, and then also if the vehicles breaks down on the road too, they need to park it well. So this is where the road safety team need to beef up with their campaign. So generally, the misty, foggy conditions will take place over the entire country from night into the early hours, and then we have light rain here and there over the southern sector. Currently, we have a rainstorm that is engulfing the upper regions, that's the upper east, upper west, northeast, northern regions. They will have moderate windy conditions. They will have moderate rains, which is likely to maybe amount to between 20 to 50 millimeters over some places. Others will be less than 20 millimeters. So this is something that we have put across. And yesterday we came up with the weekly forecast too. So the whole week, some areas will have rain and thunderstorms, and some areas will just remain cloudy, dull, cool, with early morning misty and foggy conditions.
Thank you very much, Felicity, for that update. And she's head of analysis at the Ghana Meteorological Agency. Meanwhile, fresh concerns have emerged over the state of security forces aircraft following the Adanse crash that killed the Defense and Environment Ministers and 6 others. Member of Parliament's Defense and Interior Committee, Ernest Norgbey, revealed on Newsnight last night that all 3 helicopters purchased for the Ghana Police Service just 2 years ago are grounded.
We also approved a loan for the police service. They also purchased 3 aircraft from South Africa. And
you mean the helicopters, right? The police helicopters that we saw delivered to them?
Yes, that was delivered.
Yeah.
The 1976 helicopters that were delivered. As we speak now, they cannot be used. They're still in the hangar.
Why? Do you know why? Because that question came up, why that one of those helicopters wasn't deployed in search of the Z9 that crashed last week. What happened to it? What happened to the 3?
Because they were not fit for purpose. They were not fit for purpose. And 1976 made aircraft. That is a flying offer. They are not fit for purpose, so we cannot use them.
But they were recently delivered to the Ghana Police. I remember the fanfare surrounding its outdooring and presentation to the police service.
Exactly the case, and this is the point I'm making, that this aircraft cannot be used. You can call the police, you can call any expert and ask them. As a member of the committee, I have this first-hand information that the 3 helicopters that were delivered with those fanfare, etc., were 1976 made aircraft. How many years now? That is about 49 years. Aircraft. They cannot do anything. And that is why they are still on the hangar.
And you had the Ernest Norgbey on the Interior Committee, Defense Committee, talking about the aircraft for the Ghana Police Service. Well, away from that, the opposition New Patriotic Party is asking the NDC Congress, I beg your pardon, to withdraw from the Akwatia by-election after announcing it will not contest the Tamale Central seat in respect of MP Alhaji Dr. Murtala Mohammed, who died in last week's crash. National organizer Henry Nana Boakye says the decision reflects national unity and should guide the NDC. He spoke on Newsnight.
That is my expectation, but then we leave it to them. The reason why I say so is Akwatia is in the Eastern region. The NDC, they have lost 5 important party dignitaries in the NDP, and we are mourning with them. And so for me, you have a stalwart like Honorable Omane Boaman from the Eastern region. I would say that right after a state burial, then we enter into such fierce contest. For me, it will not serve his memory right. I would say that if I were in the NDC, I think that the tension in the country, we can lower it. We can bring it down. Recently, we had Abdulkumanov, which was a very negative story. And then we've had this devastating news of this helicopter crash. And after this, we have a by-election ahead of us. I think that, yes, it's their decision to make. For us, we are of the view that we do not think that we need to go to the Tamale Central by-election.
Well, we'll touch base with the constituency and speak to our correspondent. But right about now, let's speak to Mr. Haruna Mohammed of the NPP. He's the Deputy General Secretary, and he's joining us now on this. We'll also have join us lawyer Daniel Kran, who is also a lawyer and an author, also a lecturer, a law lecturer, who will be joining us on the legal aspect of this. Right about now, I'm hearing that we've got my correspondent, Martina Bugri, in Tamale with more on this. Martina, what can you report from the constituency after learning that the NPP has withdrawn from the by-election?
So if you speak to people, it's a mixed reaction. Some think that the party should use this as a test case for the constituency, for the party, considering that it has largely been the NDCC. They think that it's a test case for them to try. But others also think that it is time to show some respect to the deceased, who they call their comrade. They say he's a comrade because they jailed, they did a lot of things together, even though he's NDC. And so for them, they think that it is a sign of respect. Just let it go.
Right. Have you also been hearing from the NDC side?
Yes, so the NDC side, for them, they think that it's a done deal for anyone who would emerge at the primaries of the NDC, because they believe that once the MPP say they are not contesting, anyone who wins the primaries is heading straight to Parliament. And so they are appealing to their party that they put in the necessary measures so that it doesn't create confusion, it doesn't create disaffection within the party, so that they can have a fair contest, that the one who would win would genuinely be the one the people love to represent their constituency.
Right. Thank you very much, Martina, for that update. Well, let's speak to Haruna Mohammed. He's the Deputy General Secretary of the NPP. Mr. Mohammed, we're grateful for your time on this. Really, what is this decision? I mean, some have questioned it, saying that, is it from a genuine place, or you're just avoiding defeat in that constituency? Unfortunately, we just lost Mr. Haruna Mohammed, but we're still expecting to speak to him, as well as the NDC and also lawyer Daniel Kran, who is a private legal practitioner, a law lecturer, and an author as well. Haruna Mohammed has joined us right about now. Grateful for you, Mr. Mohammed. I'm hoping that you could hear me.
Yes, I can hear you.
Great. So I was asking, this decision by your party to pull out of the by-election in Tamale Central, is this genuine, or it's really to avoid defeat?
First and foremost, I would say good morning to your Chinese US, and then good morning to Martina Bugri, a senior advisor. I did congrats. She has been very long media, one of compact long-term journalists in the region who has distinguished herself in her reportage.
Mr. Mohammed, I beg your pardon. I'm finding it difficult to hear you. Can you reposition yourself? I'll come to you shortly. Let me speak to Mr. Tanko Computer whilst you reposition yourself, and then we come to you. Mr. Computer, thank you for joining us this morning. I know you're very busy, but very quickly, you've heard from the NPP. They've pulled out from the election. What do you make of this, first of all?
Very well. Let me say good morning to you. We are currently at the Honorable Bukala Final Senior Rights in Tamale. We are mourning. We are in the mourning mood. I mean, the NPP is inviting us to a realm that we decline the invitation in the sense that we are mourning. Why would they want to bring out this? In any case, they know it's a political game they are playing. I mean, you cannot overturn 52,000 votes that you have 16,000. They have 16,000 in Tamale Central. We had 52,000. Even twice of their number will not get to our number. So it's a political calculation they made. It's not that they are mourning anybody or they want to say because of the funeral that they are. In any case, Akotia by election, they have not pulled out. We lost our honorable member there too. Why are they not pulling out their one too and say in honor of the MP? I mean, the hypocrisy of these our brothers, we know. They are trying to invite us to a realm that we will not fall into that trap. We are mourning our beloved fallen heroes. On the 15th, come Friday, the national funeral will be held. And after that, we can now do full-fledged discussion as to the way forward for these two constituencies. But they shouldn't be in a hurry. They should relax. I mean, they should join us to continue the mourning for now. I do know that this is not the first time political parties pulling out from contest. We have pulled out in a Jisu by-election. We pulled out in an election in 2016 that brought in Brian Achampong, Honorable Brian Achampong, his first contest. It was a by-election. We pulled out. We didn't contest in that one. Here was West Wogon. The NDC pulled out again midway. So, I mean, this is not the first time for political party to decide not to contest.
So, Mr. Computer, they have, pulled out, like you've rightly said, but you're also asking that you pull out of the Akwatia by-election. What do you make of that? I mean, one good turn deserves another, does it not?
I'm saying the NPP is not the benchmark for NDC decisions. And I'm saying that NPP decisions have never stand the test of time. You remember the decision they took for Ablekmanov. They held a press conference and told the whole world that they are not contesting Ablekmanov. They are not participating. You saw them there. They were there at this Ablekmanov. Today, they've written another statement yesterday. Are you trusting these people? They will come in last minute after this. We know their tricks.
So you don't believe that this is in good faith? You don't believe that this is in good faith?
I don't trust them because they have shown time and again that they should not be trusted. Because Ablekmanov, you were there, you covered it. And we all saw it. We all saw what happened there. They somersaulted 12 hours to the election and somersaulted and they were there. So today they've written a statement signed by the same general secretary they defied in the Ablekmanov. The general secretary of the party himself asked them not to go there. They refused and went. Today he has issued a statement. You want me to believe that statement again?
Well, let me speak to Haruna Mohammed. Haruna Mohammed, can you hear me clearly now?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Great. So you had your counterpart there. He doesn't trust that the party is making a genuine decision to pull out from the by-election. Is there any tricks under your sleeve?
Thank you very much. I will say good morning to your cherished viewers and good morning to the chief propagandist, Rashid Tanko Computer. I began by eulogizing Martina Bore. She's a senior sister, and I want to use this platform to congratulate her and thank her for her long-standing professionalism in the media cycle. And I thank him. I thank her, brother. You had a very critical question, and I've listened to my good brother from the NDP. His colleague, Mark, in the morning were on Joy Prime. He had a different view from what he is talking now. You see, the NDP, they always approbate and reprobate. There's a lot of dishonesty in what they say. For us, we stand for one principle. And when the principle is gone, we apply the principle. For point of correction, the MPP did not participate in Ablekmanov illegal election. Let him be reminded, this was not a by-election. It was an illegal election. You found our symbol and what have you on there because it was a continuous election, which we saw the process was flawed. And on principle, we decided not to participate. And he even saw what happened. If we were to participate, a vote of less than a 200 vote difference to win. That will tell you that if we were participating, then ours. Again, when you come to the same Tamale Central, we have refused to contest for Tamale Central by-election before, when Professor Wayosini resigned and went independent to contest. We did not field a candidate. Kumbungu, we did not field a candidate. We are the only political party that stands on our principle. And I always say that the NDC is like a devil. If you are eating with the NDC, you have to eat with a lot of food. So that when he's going to cut your hand, they will rather cut the spoon that you are holding. So for us, in all sincerity, with all honesty, we think that the better way to honor Honorable Dr. Alhaj Murtala Ibrahim is to abstain and allow this particular process to go based on the mood of the people and the tragedy that has happened to the nation. With respect to this particular personality, we are not contesting. And that's the best tribute that we are giving to the good.
I think we just.
So it is not any in contention that we are looking at data or what have you. No, Dr. Computer knows that in Tamale Central, when it was Buchoku Sabondida, we held on in 1996 and held on in 2000 under the leadership of Mustafa Ali Idris. Honorable Mustafa Ali Idris, may so rest in peace. So it is not true that it's because of the gap. Honorable Murtala.
Right. We just lost Haruna Mohammed again. Well, Haruna Mohammed, I keep losing you. Well, let me speak to.
Because of the vote, we cannot win.
All right.
I think that maybe he's prophesizing. He should have submitted this prophecy to Africa to review, so that at least maybe they would have known whether he should publish that prophecy or not.
All right.
But certainly not that. It is that we have decided not to contest and to honor and pay tribute to Honorable Murtala and the good people of Tamale Central.
All right, Haruna Mohammed, thank you very much for that. Well, let me speak to legal practitioner Daniel Koran on the law on this by-election. What happens when a party withdraws? Mr. Koran, we're grateful for your time. Well, whilst we try to get Lawyer Koran, Mr. Tanko, last words from you before you go.
Very well. Like I told you, the MPP should not be trusted with their words. It's a political party. You should be careful when they are issuing their statements. My good brother Haruna just made it very clear that they didn't contest Ablikmanov. You covered it. You saw it. Your cameras were there. I need not to tell the whole world. That's how they flip-flop. So when they issue their statement, just take it with a pinch of salt. I do know that we are in the mourning mood. We are not going to fall into their trap. They want to divert our attention from the mourning of our fallen heroes into their own propaganda. What they are doing is a propaganda piece.
All right.
But I can tell you, we are not interested in any propaganda. They should hold on. After 15th, Friday, we'll slug it out. They'll hear from us after 15th.
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Tanko Computer. He's a Deputy Director of Elections of the NDC. Well, Lawyer Daniel Koran, hopefully I have him on the line, joining me on the legal aspect of this conversation. Thank you for being on Joy News Desk.
Thank you very much for having me.
Yes, lawyers.
Good morning to your cherished viewers.
Great. So you've had the conversations from both sides. We really want to know from you, when a party withdraws from the election, does the Electoral Commission still go ahead to conduct a by-election?
Thank you very much. When it comes to by-elections, we have to understand that it is a parliamentarian, which has happened as a result of maybe death of the MP or resignation.
Well, we'll try and get a stable line to
any other reason when the seat becomes vacant. Please, is it clear now?
I seem to be losing you a bit, yes, but I think you're good now.
Thank you very much. So, under the Constitution, when a vacancy occurs in Parliament and the Electoral Commission is notified, the law places an obligation, a mandatory duty on the Electoral Commission to ensure that a by-election is conducted for the area or the constituency in question. And that by-election must go on even if only one political party presents a candidate. So the withdrawal or the intended withdrawal of the NPP from the impending by-elections would not affect anything.
Right, so then that means that
it will not affect the election.
Do go ahead.
Please.
Do go ahead.
Let me hear you, please.
Go ahead, please.
Yes. So the point I'm making is that once it is an obligation constitutionally placed on the Electoral Commission to conduct a by-election, it does not matter that the major political opposition party is withdrawing from it. And the NPP in their letter to the public acknowledges that it is their right to participate in the by-elections. And once they have that right of participation, the party equally has a right of non-participation. And so if the party decides that it would exercise that right in favor of non-participation, I think nobody can fault them. And I have to state clearly that that decision would not also affect the conduct of the by-elections that the Electoral Commission is supposed to do. Even when we go and only the NDC brings a candidate, we know what the law says about that. The elections will still go on and the person will be declared having been voted or having become the MP. And so from the legal point of view, the withdrawal will not affect anything.
But can the Electoral Commission just declare the other candidate or whoever is chosen to fill that position, straightforward instead of going through the whole process of voting and all that when the other party has already declared that it's not going to partake in the election, saving the nation valuable resources that we are already not having?
I think we need to acknowledge that a multi-party democracy and not a two-party democracy.
Okay.
Please, can you hear me?
I do. I'm hearing you.
Thank you very much. The point I'm making is that we have to acknowledge that Ghana is a multi-party democracy and not a two-party democracy. And so when we have the NDC and the NPP as being the major political parties at the forefront of our democracy, we should
We seem to be losing lawyer Daniel Krande, but I think that the point has been made about, the election still being held or supposed to be held by the Electoral Commission despite the NPP pulling out. Well, let's go back to our first story about that emergency landing or precautionary landing in Adwafo. And we have on the line the Assemblyman for the area, Isaac Amponsa. We're grateful for your time on a news desk. We heard about this helicopter landing in your area. What do you know, or the initial information you received about this incident?
No, okay. First of all, thank you for calling me this morning. Yeah, it is true that we had an emergency landing of a plane in our area yesterday, and then it happened as a result of the rain, and then also hit it was cloudy in the sky, so he wasn't able to move as planned. So he decided to land to avoid any incident that may happen with his own person. That is what he told us.
So currently, what's the status of this helicopter? Is it still landed or it's taking off, or what's the situation?
Okay, it left yesterday around 4 o'clock that way when the cloud was okay for him. He told us that he was going to check if he can fly the plane to wherever he came from, because the incident happened when he was moving to the western region, and then also he decided to return because of the weather conditions. But he couldn't go back to Accra. That made him to land. So he said he was checking whether he can go back to Accra. So he was not able to return again.
And this situation about, residents fearing that something might happen to them, knowing very well that your area is where some of these helicopters pass, navigate in the Ashanti region. Are there any precautions that are being put in place in your area, particularly in case of these situations, so that nobody is caught in any form of emergency?
Okay, the measures, even the DC came there yesterday when he heard of the news. So he was also advising the pilots and those that may be moving around that whenever they see such circumstances, they should land to avoid any occurring incidents, and then also to avoid our names being circulating that such incidents have been happening in our area. So we are also praying that things like that wouldn't repeat itself. And then also our advice to them is that whenever they see the weather not favorable, it will be advisable for them not to move the plane at all to avoid new circumstances.
Thank you very much, Mr. Isaac Amponsa. He's the assemblyman for Adwafo Mensonso electoral area, just speaking to us about that helicopter that landed in their area there this morning. Well, you're still listening or watching. I beg your pardon to join News Desk. We'll take a break. We'll return with business.
Welcome back to Business here on News Desk. My name is Winston Taki, and now to our first business story. The Ministry of Communication, Digital Technology and Innovation has announced plans to establish a national data action hub to drive Ghana's digital economy. Sector Minister Samuel George said the hub will facilitate data sharing between government and private institutions. He noted that this will help build a robust database to develop AI models tailored to Ghana's needs.
Artificial intelligence is not a future ambition. It's a present-day mandate. From agriculture to education, health to transport, justice to finance, defense to homeland security, every ministry, department, and agency must become AI ready. This is not about replacing human judgment. It's about augmenting our institutions with intelligence, efficiency, and predictive insight. It's about unlocking new value for citizens, streamlining public services, and positioning the government itself as a driver of innovation. Our message was simple: no MDA must be left behind. This agenda belongs to all of us. We will also develop the policies and provide the technical support from my ministry to help build the talent pipelines to ensure that AI becomes a core capability of the Ghanaian state. To match this, we are also working on establishing a national data exchange hub, a secure interoperable backbone that will allow public and private entities to share data transparently, safely, seamlessly, and efficiently. Data is the new oil. Data, however, unlike crude, must be refined through trust, policy, and precision. And Ghana will lead on this front. Ladies and gentlemen, this is why we are undertaking a comprehensive review of all existing legislation in the ICT sector, not as a bureaucratic exercise, but as a strategic imperative. And I'm pleased to announce that at this moment, the ministry is currently undertaking 15 new legislation to lay.
In other development, the Association of Ghana Industries has urged commercial banks to honor their promise of cutting lending rates in the coming days. The Ghana Association of Banks have promised to reduce their lending rate drastically this week, following the significant drop in the Ghana reference rate last week. Sir Chum Akwabo has been speaking to Joy Business.
Expect that the banks will drop the interest rate significantly. First of all, we appreciate the reduction in policy rates, which was announced just about a week ago. And subsequently, we've had engagement with Bank of Ghana. We've also had engagement with the media. And we've made a point that anytime there is a policy rate drop, there's supposed to be a positive correlation, as my friend John Awuah said. However, in the past, when there's a policy rate drop, we don't see that significant drop. Sometimes it's not even proportionate. And we've expressed a bit of concern over this. So I'm happy that the Bankers Association is mentioning that indeed there's significant drop in the lending rates. So we look forward to see it implemented on the ground. We'll be monitoring it. We'll be talking to our members to see how it's actually reflecting their day-to-day transactions with the banks. So it's a positive development, and I said rightly so, because we've all experienced significant macroeconomic stability since the beginning of the year. So one would only expect that all these indicators will point to a positive end, and therefore coming down on the interest rate is just the right thing to do.
That's all for business here on NewsX. My name is Winston Taki. Mamiesi, over to you for the rest of the bit.
Thank you, Winston. Now the Ashantis are mourning. The Ashanti-man is bidding farewell to Ashanti Hema Nana Kunedu Yadom III, the Ashanti Hene, Otumfo Sertutu the second, announced the passing of the Queen after a short illness. And Adwafo Yadom has more on her legacy in the following report.
Nana Kunedu Yadom III was not only a maternal figure, but also a guardian of tradition who stood as a pillar of unity, whose influence was felt beyond the Mensha Palace. Born in 1927 as Nana Ama Kunedu, she succeeded her mother, Nana Efiankobisia Wampem II, in 2017 as the 14th Asante Hema. The Queen became an indispensable advisor on traditional and cultural affairs to her biological brother, the Asante Hene. Throughout her reign, she championed the preservation of Ashanti customs and became an advocate for women's empowerment. Her leadership style, especially her warm reception, earned her respect from all walks of life, from the palace to ordinary market women. Nana Kunedu Yadom herself was a national envoy who, on behalf of Ghana, received visiting presidents, dignitaries and foreign envoys at the Mensha Palace. At an emergency Asanteman Council meeting where all chiefs were clad in black, Otumfo Sertutu II, in a sober mood, announced the Asante Hena's demise.
I was told of the demise of my old lady when I planned on traveling. She died on Thursday. We have to make arrangements and inform Nananom.
Asante Hema will be remembered not only for her royal responsibilities, but also for her motherly role and influence in safeguarding the values of the Ashanti Kingdom. Though her passing marks the end of an era, her legacies will continue to shape the cultural and moral fabrics of the Asante Kingdom and generations. Nananom say, Ohima Dwe Niamani Kunu. For Joy News, my name is Adwafo Yadom.
May her soul rest in peace, and that's how we end Joy News Desk this morning. There's more news on myjoyonline.com.